Hello everyone, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel. This is the card I'm going to be making today using the Rabbit Hole Designs Caffeinated Dragon. I adore this little guy with his sad look on his face and his little coffee cup. The coordinating die does cut out the areas in between the wings and the tail, which makes it super easy. And so we are going to get started with the coloring. So today's video is all about mixing Copic colors or alcohol markers from different families. So what I mean by that is, for example, in this card, I'm going to be mixing purples, pinks, oranges, and yellows. So those are different color families, but I'm going to show you how you can blend those together to get a really fun look for your images. So to start out with the coloring, I'm going to do the dark purple on the tops of our little dragon's wings here. So the purple color combination I'm using is V17, which is my darkest, the V15, my darkest midtone, and the V04 as my lightest midtone, and then the V01 as my highlight or my lightest color. So for the dark wingtips, I just used the V17, the V15, and then I blended that out towards the inner part of the wings there with the V04 and then the V01. Now I brought in the rest of the colors that I'm going to be doing. I just thought it would be easier than bringing them back and forth into the screen. So now you can see I'm working on the pink color family. So this is the only area where I use the R83, the darkest of the pink. I blended that out with the R81 and then the RV11. Then I brought in the YR, which is more of an orangey tone, and then the Y11. And I'm just going to keep blending those. You can see I'm going to go back a second time over that just to bring some more of that pink in. I actually wanted to bring the pink and the orangey color down a little bit more with less of the yellow showing. So here's the tip for making these blend. If you notice, the lightest of the purple is a V01 and the two lightest of the pinks end in 1 as well. So the R81 and the RV11. And then my YR21, which is the one that I'm using for the orange, ends in a 1, and my yellow, the Y11, also ends in a 1. So that just tells you that they're very close and that you will be able to get a blend with them. So you can see with the wings, the inside of the wings there, I was able to get a very smooth blend. And so as we create our dragon here, I'm going to continue to do that. Now, sometimes depending on which color families you're using, you may need to go over the image a couple of times. Don't be afraid to do that. The Copics are transparent or translucent. I think transparent is the better word. And so you can blend on top of them more than once. So here you can see I've gone ahead, I'm starting the body of my dragon, and I've gone ahead and I've outlined where I want the darkest shadows to be. So those are along the back of his body, under his arms, behind his floppy little ear there. And I also wanted to create some dark shadows under his eyes to make it look like maybe he hasn't slept or he didn't sleep very well and is in need of some caffeine. So once I get my darkest marker down, I can go ahead and blend that out with the V15, and I'm working on the V04 here, and now bringing in that lightest V01. Now there is quite a difference between the V04 and the V01, so I do need to work at that quite a bit to get that to blend. And you'll see as I continue to color this how I achieve that. So sometimes I just go over the areas more than once. I decided here with his arm that I wanted it to be a little darker, so I went back to that V15 and the V04. And here now again, just continuing to work out that blend as much as I can. In some areas, I'm just using the very tip of my marker just to get a soft blend there. When I bring in that V01, it definitely takes some work. So I guess another tip would be don't get frustrated. Keep working at it and see what you can come up with. So for the bottom here, I am going to start to bring in some of those pinks. So I wanted his body to be purple to the back, and then we're going to work our way through the pinks. And then for his tummy and the inside of his floppy ear and the little horns on his head, we're going to bring in those multiple colors. So you can see here, once I start laying in these pinks, the purples start to really bleed back. And that's okay, because this is just my first coat. And once I go back over it again, I'm going to be able to get those to blend really nicely together. So this is one of those things where it's going to look more like a hot mess while you're creating than when it's finished. So if you stick with it and play around and just have fun, you can get these colors to blend. So you can see here now I'm really bringing in that pink color to the front. Forgot his hand there holding the coffee cup, so I'm just going to bring those purples back in. So using the V17, I also darkened up the other arm, and you can see I'm flipping between those two arms there, and now I'm going to actually come back and bring some of those darker colors back to the back end of his body here, and this is where the blending really starts to look nice. For his snout, I decided to bring in some of those darker purples as well. In the end, I end up using a black jelly roll pen or a black glaze pen for the inside of his nostrils, but at this point I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with them. So again, you can see here building up that color, and you can just see how nicely that blend really starts to look. So just going to keep at that, keep going over that, and then now I'm going to bring in the pinks again. So I'm switching here between the R81 and the RV11 for the pinks. I believe that one that I had there was the V01. And just like I said, just continuing to blend. So you can really start to see the difference after I've gone over it a couple times now than the first layer that I first put down, where you might have been thinking, Jen, what are you thinking? This is not going to work. But like I said, if you keep at it, it will. And once the markers start to dry, the blend will come together much nicer as well. So just kind of one final layer here. I wanted to keep all this in because I wanted to show you that it doesn't just happen magically. And I know sometimes with video making and editing, you can cut a lot of things out, and sometimes things look a lot easier than they actually were to put together. So I know this is a bit of a longer coloring video, but I did want to keep it in so you can see that I went over this multiple times to get that look that I was going for. So now I'm starting to work on blending those color families for the other areas of our little dragon here. So I started with the R81 and blended that out with the RV11. I'm coming in with the YR21 for that orange, and then I'm going to blend that out with the Y11. Now again, this is my first coat, so I tend to be a little less heavy-handed on the first round with the darker colors, so I can get a sense of where I need to pull those colors throughout the image a little bit more. So you'll see here as I'm doing this second coat, I'm bringing that pink down even more, the purple and the pink, and then for his horns, I'm bringing that orange more to the top, and then as well underneath his coffee cup and to the side of his tummy there where his leg is kind of overhanging his tummy, and then finish that up with the Y11. And you can see here I'm still not done. I want to pull some more of that V01 into his body, and then again blending that out with the pinks. And then that should do it for our little dragon, and you can see how lovely those colors come together in a nice blend, and they're from different color families. So play around with your markers, see what color combinations you can come up with, and have fun. So for the eyes and the coffee cup, I wanted them to be white. I'm bringing in my C3 as the darkest just to have some shading. and the C1 as well, and then I will go ahead and blend that out with the colorless blender. Once I get that done, we're going to work on adding some detail to our dragon. Now, I didn't color the coffee here. I wasn't quite sure which color of brown I wanted to use. I wanted to see how the card came together first, so you'll see me come back and do that later. So for some details, I'm adding a black glaze pen to his eyes. This will make them really nice and shiny, and they'll stand out. And here's where I decided to do that for the insides of his nose as well. And then I'm bringing in a white gel pen, and I'm going to add that to his pupil. I also needed to fix up a couple areas where the markers bled. Because I did use so many layers, there is an increased chance of bleeding, so you just need to be aware of that. But the white gel pen can save the day. So I wanted to add some fun details to our dragon here. So I'm using my colorless blender, and I'm just dotting around the dragon, mostly to the back side of him, but I'm also going to add some of this to where the colors come together between the purple and the pink, and that will also disguise some of that transition between the two colors. So once I let that dry, you can see there's some bleached out spots, which I think just gives him some character. And then I'm going to bring that black glaze pen back in. I wanted to add some scales to him. He had a couple on his tail, and I thought it would be fun to just have that on the back side of him to bring in some more of that black. Now, once I got these little ones down, I decided I wanted to make a few of them a bit bigger. So you're going to see I'm just on some of them randomly, I'm going to make those V's slightly larger. And I love this glaze pen because it gives almost an embossed effect to it, and it's really nice and shiny. So now I'm going to line up the coordinating die. I'm going to run that through my Big Shot, and then you can see how nice this die cuts out around our image and in between the tail there so perfectly. Love it. So there's our image. Now I'm going to bring in this memory box stencil. It's called Rings and Puddles. And I'm going to use some Distress Oxide ink in Walnut stain. I'm going to use this as coffee rings or coffee splatters on the back of my card. I wanted a really clean and simple background for this card because I really wanted all that time and energy that I spent on the image to be the center focus of this card. So you can see here I am using the stencil here, and I'm just adding these rings and the little, well, I guess they're puddles, but they're going to be coffee drops for this card. And I'm just placing it around the card where I know I want some interest behind my little dragon here. And I'm just using a makeup brush. This one happens to be a tiny one from a set that I got on Amazon. I will link all the products below. The Caffeinated Dragon is also available at both the Rabbit Hole Designs and the Not Too Shabby shop, and I'll leave a link to both of those below. I do have a coupon code as a design team member for Not Too Shabby that you can use to save 10% off your purchase. It's NS10, and all that will be below as well. So I just wanted to show you there that I'm bringing in some of these little puffs of smoke here from the MFT stamp Magical Dragons. I just thought that would give some added interest to look like he's kind of huffing and puffing and not having the best of mornings until he has his coffee. I did go ahead and pop all the images up on some foam tape, and that will just have them raise off that background a little bit. And again, that will allow our images to kind of be the center of focus, just popped up a little bit. So I'm also using the first part of a sentiment from the Magical Dragons stamp set. And in the stamp set, it said, "I heard you were dragon," and it's actually spelt out as dragon. So I'm just going to use that full sentiment without the dragon, and I'm going to use the hashtag dragon, IN instead of ON, from the Caffeinated Dragon stamp set. So just mixing up these two sentiments to get a full sentiment for my card. Just using my Versafine Clair Nocturne ink for that, which is my favorite black ink for sentiments. So there's the E39. I chose to use that for my coffee. I thought it matched the walnut stain really well. And then I'm going to add some Nouveau shimmer on to the lighter areas of my dragon, as well as the clouds. And then I can go ahead and add this to my card base. So this is a standard size card at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Once I have this on my card base, I can go ahead and add the final details. And I'm bringing in some Nouveau drops, and these are the Violet Galaxy. I just thought it would be nice to add some more purple into the background of the card. So I am just going to tap that onto my Distress Oxide ink to get the bubbles out of my drops, and that's the card for today. So I hope you had fun seeing how you can easily blend Copic colors from different color families. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for your comments and your likes and using my affiliate links. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you soon. Bye.